And it's nice to be with you all today. I just want to first, before we begin, acknowledge that we're on the traditional lands, or Rural Roads is located on the traditional lands of the Lekwungen peoples, the Songhees and Esquimalt First Nations, and we are deeply grateful to live, learn, and work here, where the past, present, and future of Indigenous and non-Indigenous student, staff, and faculty come together. So thank you all for being here. And of course, without further delay, the reason we're all here today is to explore the Bachelor of Arts in Interdisciplinary Studies. Super interesting program we have here at Royal Roads University. Just like to introduce myself. My name is Ariana Kinjerski. I'm an education specialist in recruitment here at Royal Roads, so it's lovely to be with you. Also lovely to be joined by Dr. Shelley Jones, who's the program head. Shelley, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks, Ariana, and thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely. And also we have Willem van Doesburg on the line, who is a program advisor for the program as well. So Willem, thank you so much for joining us as well.
Thank you, Ariana. Thank you for having me, and hello, everyone. Nice to be here.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And then we also have a host of other wonderful folks from the program area as well. We have Chrissy Yang. Thank you so much for being here, Chrissy. We also have Carol Sandu from the College of Interdisciplinary Studies as well, and then Kelsey Phillips from Enrollment Services. So hello to all the folks, and thank you so much for being here. And just a quick agenda before we get going with today's presentation. So I will start us off with a brief overview of the Royal Roads University experience, and then we're going to get into a little bit of program information with Shelley and Willem, and then I'll walk us through quickly the application process and requirements, just in case you're thinking of applying for the next intake, and then of course ask your questions. I'd love to know in the meantime where in the world you are tuning in from, so feel free to pop that in the chat. I'm tuning in from Victoria, BC here myself. And now you might be asking, if you are new to exploring Royal Roads, why you want to explore Royal Roads University, kind of what makes us different, right? So we like to believe at Royal Roads, we see life as a qualification. So we take into account your work experience, your volunteer experience, and all of those things you go through in life as part of coming into the program. So not just your academic qualifications, we really take into account the whole person. That's kind of a theme as we go along that you'll see more and more. We pride ourselves on having professors who know your name, really being on that first name basis, not just a student number. As many large universities, we really like to get to know you as people. Also base our learning on life. So in Royal Roads, you're really tackling real world challenges, real world problems. And that's something I can attest to as an alumni of Royal Roads myself. Really gives you that applied nature of everything you're doing in your courses. You're also making connections for life. I like to believe that in my kind of experience in my program at Royal Roads, really made some strong connections that I use both personally and professionally as you're moving through your career and in life. So really becoming close with those people that you're studying with and in your cohort model. And then we were built differently from day one. So we have a focus on online learning and blended learning. So really taking into account those pieces as you're moving through the program. And then I just want to show a couple photos of our campus here. So if you are coming onto campus at Royal Roads, this is kind of what you can expect. We have, of course, Hatley Castle, which is a famous movie set. It's been in films like X-Men and Deadpool, so you might recognize that from many films. And then we also have our Japanese garden and many other gardens that you can explore at Royal Roads. So a variety of wonderful green spaces we have on campus. And then we also have our Esquimalt Lagoon, which is a migratory bird sanctuary on campus. One of my personal favorites to go for a walk by the water there. And then, as I mentioned before, we've also been online learning for over 25 years now. So it's really built into the fabric of who we are, built into our DNA at Royal Roads. So we like to think we do it pretty well. And we're also proud to be a changemaker campus certified by Ashoka U, which is an innovative approach to education that prepares students as they address world problems, encourage others, and act for the good of all. And with that, I will stop talking here and I'll pass it off for some interesting program information with Dr. Shelley Jones. Shelley.
Hi, thanks so much, Ariana, and thank you for joining us. Those of you that have joined to learn more about the program, it's always sort of exciting to talk about it. I think this is one of the best bachelor programs that I'm aware of, just in terms of its direct applicability to people's lives and careers and aspirations. So it's always fun to be able to share it. So the BAIS program is for students or individuals who are interested in looking at the intersections of different academic disciplines, who can see connections and how those can be used in order to contribute to social, environmental, and economic issues. Generally speaking, the students who come in are looking at, have an interest in areas of communication or justice studies, business, and environmental practice. And looking at a combination of these and possibly also combining with courses from other institutions, which I'll talk about in a moment. And we're really trying to support you in terms of what you're interested in doing career and maybe perhaps research-wise as well. It's a flexible program, meaning that there's are some required components to it for sure, but really it's quite innovative in that it's looking at the broad spectrum of courses that we offer, as well as up to 12 credits, which is the equivalent of 4 full-time courses that can be taken through other accredited institutions. So if there are courses, for example, that we don't offer that you would like to include in your program, with the approval of the program head, you can do that as well. And that's a really nice option for students who are looking to something that's a little bit beyond what the scope might be at Royal Roads. Ideally, you're going to be self-directed and highly motivated and have strong communication skills. And you're going to be working closely with Willem, and Willem will be speaking with you shortly. Willem is our program advisor. And to decide on what is it that you're hoping to gain from the program, ultimately, what are you hoping to learn and take away? How is this maybe going to be applying to your future studies or your career? And how can you work to make a schedule for yourself that can interweave from different academic areas? So as I said, it's a personalized program. So you're working closely with Willem and also with me or the program head in certain circumstances. The program can be taken completely online or in a blended model. There are some on-campus residencies that you may be interested in, and those specific details you can discuss with your program advisor. So the basic program structure for BAIS is it's year 3 and year 4 completion program. So you'll come in, generally speaking, a standard admission is you've got 2 completed years at another institution. And you start the program with 3 mandatory required courses, which are 3 credits each. INDS 300, which is writing across disciplines. And this is a course that sets you up to write to understand what it means to write in different areas, different disciplinary areas, because there are different stylistic aspects, there's different kind of concepts that you're trying to communicate. And so this helps you to be able to write strongly and coherently and with sort of understanding the nuances in, say, like the difference between writing in environmental studies versus in writing in communication studies. INDS 310 is the next required course, and that's Introduction to Interdisciplinary Studies. And this introduces you to how it is you can combine work from different academic areas and present them in writing and in your presentation of ideas. And I think I've lost my, there we go. There we go. And the third required course is INDS 400, which is Global Perspectives on Indigenous Ways of Knowing. And Royal Roads is very committed to the Indigenous scholarship, and as most universities are now across Canada. And this is an important course in terms of understanding how Indigenous perspectives are integrated throughout the program areas. And then you'll have 42 credits, which are taken at the 3rd and 4th year levels in academic specializations. Again, with the option of being able to transfer in 12 credits or 4 courses from another institution with permission from the program head. And you finish the program with 9 credits, which is 2 courses, one 3-credit course, one 6-credit course, focused on what you are interested in doing professionally. So this is a really great opportunity for you to be able to say, perhaps take something from your work or career life, or maybe your aspirational career, and focus on a particular topic in depth, and you're working one-on-one with a supervisor for these 2 final courses. So then your program total is 60 credits. The other, I think, quite wonderful aspect of the program is that you have an option of doing an internship. This can be a paid or an unpaid internship. It can be done anywhere in the world. It can even be done online. And this is an opportunity for you, I think, to really explore some territory that maybe you haven't been able to. Maybe you are wanting to, find a path into the world of NGOs, and it just hasn't been, available in terms of finding work in those areas. But doing an internship really allows you to gain a lot of experience, and also, be able to begin to forge some networks in those areas as well. So something to consider, and something I actually highly recommend for most students. It's a very great, there's an academic component along with it. So then you are writing reflections on your internship, you are conveying what you're doing, you are working with your supervisor of your internship as well as your supervisor for the internship course itself. But many people have gained quite a lot of valuable experience, and even have, has resulted in jobs for them. So that's another option for you in the BAIS program. You finish off with your professional focus courses. I did talk about them a little bit before. This INDS 417, which is independent study, which is 3 credits, and then INDS 490, which is a senior research paper or a project, which is 6 credits. And here you are choosing your topic that you're interested in exploring in more depth, and you work one-on-one with a faculty member or someone with expertise from Royal Roads or another institution. And after you complete these 2 courses, you are finished the program. So one of the like, for example, this is just a sample program that we've put up. Maybe you have an interest in social justice and communication. In terms of the courses, those will be the courses you're interested in. Your career field might be NGOs or nonprofits, and maybe you are somebody who wants to work in the nonprofit or government sectors in the areas of women's and First Nations issues. So what you would do is your background, you would bring in 60 credits, year 1 and year 2 from another institution. And then you would work with our program advisor to create a program. So you would graduate from the BAIS program with a Bachelor of Arts in Interdisciplinary Studies. However, you can also declare an area of concentration. That is, so you'll discuss this with the program head, and this would need to be approved. But you could have, for example, a Bachelor of Arts in Interdisciplinary Studies with a concentration in sustainability and leadership, or a Bachelor in Interdisciplinary Studies with a concentration in communication and environmental practice, or any number of focus areas. So this is a good option if you are wanting to be able to present your degree in a way that provides a focus to, say, prospective employers. And I will then turn it over to Willem now, our program advisor.
Thank you, Shelley. I wanted to show you, because this has been all quite theoretical, right? I want to show you some practice. So let's say you apply to the program, you are admitted, then you have a chance to create your own pathway. And then that pathway depends on what your goals are, right? So, and the courses, they are all listed in this program guide. I'll put the link later on in the chat. Maybe Chrissy, you mind doing that. So the program guide basically is a curated set of courses that so Shelley and I have agreed on with other program heads that our BAIS students can take, given they've taken the first 3 program required courses, right? So you build some skills in the first 3 courses, so writing skills, theory skills, indigenous ways of knowing, ontology, right? What is knowledge, which knowledge counts. And then you're ready to kind of segue into all these different courses that you select. And this is the repository of all the courses. Now, you can take the program entirely online, and I'll show you that in a minute. But basically, if you would click here on online courses, you get an idea of the 5 areas, right, that Shelley earlier on mentioned. And then in each of those areas, they kind of represent other programs that there were. So, for example, this is business management from a BCom program, the Bachelor of Commerce, professional communications from the Bachelor of Professional Communication, and so forth. So if you, for example, have a look here in the online courses, you see all those listings here. So basically what you're doing is you're taking courses from other programs and you're putting them with the data offered in your own program. And Christy and I will help you with that. But it's up to you to choose what you'd like to include. And of course, it's an interdisciplinary program. So we'd like to see at least 2, perhaps 3 areas come back. But I would say browse around here. This gives a real idea of what you can include. Quite some business courses here, as well as environment. Environment is interdisciplinary in itself, so they have a bit more courses that can be slightly outside of environment itself. Like, for example, there's a course around communication skills, so that would kind of go together with INES 310 and the writing course. But there's also statistics if you're interested in that, but also public policy formulation, right? So not entirely environment. So if you're interested in business, I would say also have a look at environment, because there are some kind of transferable skills from the business world, of course, that are not core to environment that are offered in these environment section. Yeah, and justice as well. There are quite a few courses here. Have a look around. These courses are all online. We have our own course, INDS 325, 2S LGBTQ+, updated title here, I see, global issues and community engagement. But all these programs have a start as well. And now that start is what we often call a residency course. And you find those are more foundational courses. They're sitting at the beginning of the 3rd year, right? And we offer parts of that. So, for example, of all those programs, there's 3 programs who have foundational residency courses. So in, for example, professional communication, if you're thinking about taking quite a few professional communication courses, then have a look here. They have a foundational residency and an advanced residency. The unique part about this residency is that previously those, before COVID in particular, right, the pandemic has changed some of that also for us. Some of those courses were offered with a 2 or 3 week in-person component, but they have actually all moved now synchronously online, which means that you, instead of having the entire course asynchronous, so you can be behind your computer doing your work according to deadlines in the course, but you decide when you want to be behind your computer. These courses, they have maybe 3-4 weeks asynchronous, so you can decide when you work on the deadlines, but then for a period of about 2 weeks, I believe. Yeah, 2 weeks, you will then be actually required to be behind your computer and actually meet the group as if you were in person in a classroom. But those are actually online, so you don't have to leave your home or your town to do that. So you can choose some of those courses. Ideally, Christy and I try to put those courses a bit early in your program, right? Because communication theory, foundation of professional communication, these are kind of foundational courses. If you take those first, and let's say you want to add a few other communication courses, you go back to online courses and then have a look at some of the more advanced, so let's say global communication, or you want to do more of an internal communication course, the COM 423, for example. So by kind of first looking at the residency courses, right, in the areas you're interested in, maybe look at that first, see if that appeals to you, and then go back to the online courses and basically you draft on a list of about 14 courses. And you and I, as the applicant, we can then discuss the courses and see what the overlap could be, what the best sequence is, and then Chrissy will come in, draft your unique program schedule based on what you want it to be. And that is actually quite unique. That's quite cool because you can decide. It's university of you. You can decide what you'd like to include. So I'll leave it with that. Maybe two little suggestions here. So if you go to this program guide, there are before and during application frequently asked questions, right? So some basic questions about what is an interdisciplinary degree. During your program, Shelley already alluded to the capacity to the option of you including courses from another university, right? So 14 courses you take as part of your academic specialization. And so first the 3 required, then that academic specialization of those electives, and then at the end you do that senior research paper. Now that middle part, so that where you really do the work with the courses, you could actually bring in courses from another university. Now the reason why we do that is to elicit interdisciplinarity, right? Because as you see from those fields of study, we do offer courses in those areas, management, communication, environment, and justice, and our own course. But psychology or sociology, these areas we don't offer because we simply don't have programs. We're a relatively small university, right? That explains why we can take so good care of you, but also comes with that we don't have a real breadth of what other universities might offer. Now, still to give you an option to tap into that, you could take courses. For example, at the West University offers an open online suite for credit. Now, and if you then go to during your program frequently asked question, there is a good question here about if you want to take a course in another institution. This is kind of our process for that. So we can discuss that further if you have more questions about that. The other thing I wanted to show you, and if I maybe still have time for that, we do. It's one of the questions I get a lot is when we talk about courses, what does it actually mean to study alloy rods? And then I get a question like when do I have to be in class? And that comes back to the asynchronous learning. So in generally, so if you imagine a course starts, it's usually about 10 weeks in length. And during those 10 weeks, you, if it's an online course, you decide when you work. But let's say it's 10 weeks and the instructor, together with our Center for Technology and Education, they have a way that they design a course. They say, okay, in those 10 weeks, you have 5 units. Now, each of those 5 units still has their own deadlines. So it's not that you can do nothing for 8 weeks and then pump it through in the last 2 weeks. That will not, that will fail. Each 2 weeks, for example, in this case, you have deadlines, you work on those deadlines, and how you work on those gives an overview in this slide. So in the online Moodle environment, right, that's highly customized by our education department. They have discussion posts set up. There's activities, right, that the instructor brings in. Real life assignments is, I think, what Roros makes strong at, that real applied kind of scholar practitioner, you call that knowledge. So it has to be applied. It needs to lead to something. Theory is great. What about the practice? You really have to work with that theory, and that's what you do in those real life assignments. But you're in there not alone. You're in there with a group of people, and as a BAIS student, you will go into several courses, right, from different programs. So then you have to be aware of that too. That's why Shelley mentioned you have to be highly motivated, and you have to really have an attitude of you going out trying to create your own path, because the other cohorts have their students in it, and you will be parachuted into that. They know you're coming, and the program says you will be successful, and many students have been successful, but still you might have to be a little bit more aware of that, because maybe there was another course prior that has some snippets of that comes back, so you have to do a bit more learning. That's why the interdisciplinary program could be a bit more surprising with regards to workload. Generally, we say about 15 hours per course, so that's kind of a general, it's a generalization. It depends on so many factors, right? If you've been in school for a long time or not. If you're not, then got some more time, right? How's your reading proficiency and all these things. But so you will be in the course with others. Team assignments are part of our learning method, right? So there's always, or most of the courses have one smaller as part of an assignment that includes teams. But we have a teams department, right, with the team coaches. So that's all guided. Then, of course, you have your readings, right, connect to the library, and then the instructor is in there. So in some courses that I've experienced elsewhere, the instructor is quite hands-off, but not with Royal Roads. We instructor right in there, and we'll check in with you if and you can just reach out to the instructor, ask how things are going. Yeah, and the ultimate goal is to build this new shared knowledge together, right? So this is kind of a snippet of a 10-week course. And then you do that basically 14 times in the different topics. I think I'll leave it with that. Otherwise, I'll overload you with information. If you have any questions, then I will put my email address in the chat as well. Then you can ask about your unique circumstances, and hopefully I can answer that. Thank you. Back to you, Ariana. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Willem and Shelley. That was fantastic. Appreciate that information. I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen once more here. Hopefully everybody can see the good screen there. Perfect. So I'll just move on now, folks, to some how to apply information. If you are thinking of applying for the upcoming deadline, just a little bit, we mentioned it a little bit throughout the presentation, but just a few more tidbits for you. So we have two methods of admission into the program, so standard admissions and flexible admissions. First, the standard admissions is a diploma or 60 credits in arts and sciences field of study, as we mentioned before, and a minimum of 24 second-year credits with a minimum of a GPA of a B, which is a 3 or a 4.33, from a recognized post-secondary institution. So if that's you, that's the first one. And then if that's not you, we also have flexible admissions, which is one of my favorite parts about Royal Roads because it gives a lot of folks a chance to come into the programs in a more flexible way. So this is for applicants who do not meet the standard admission requirements. And normally that looks like 3 to 5 years of professional experience in a related area and the ability to demonstrate the competencies expected of a graduate with a 2-year degree in the arts and sciences. So this all is assessed on a case-by-case basis. Oh, sorry, I lost my slide here. I'll go back. So this is not something that you choose before you come into the program. This is something that our admissions advisors assess kind of as they come in. That's something to keep in mind there. I don't know what's happening to my slides. Hopefully we'll keep going. And how to apply, a few bullet points here. So the first step in applying is just an online application fee of $134.01. And then we ask for some supporting documentation. So for a lot of folks, we ask for all of these documents, but they look like official transcripts, and then as well with this program, a proposed course schedule. And then required for flexible admissions are a detailed resume, so really going into the details of your work experience, volunteer experience, anything that you might have on there, really going into all those details. And as well, the personal statement. And what that is, I like to say it's as if you were applying for a job. It's kind of like your cover letter, really saying why you'd be a good fit for the program, what you hope to bring to the program as well, really giving you a chance to outline those things so we get to know you as an applicant. And then 2 letters of reference, and those can be either academic or professional in nature. We like to see one of each, but 2 is okay from each as well. And then a few key dates. The next intake, it's coming up fast. It's in September 9th, 2024. And the application deadline, just a few days away. I can hardly believe we are in June, but we are. It's on June 9th, 2024. So if you're thinking of applying, I always like to say now is the best time to apply. So if you do have your documents together and you're ready to go, we suggest you apply as soon as you can. They are assessed on a rolling basis. And please don't wait. Submit your application now. And of course, we realize going back to school in any capacity is a huge step, right? So we have some services that are available to you in terms of financial aid and award. So we have things like loans, bursaries, scholarships, student research scholarships, it's a tongue twister there, and then as well as emergency funding too, because sometimes life happens. So you can check that out at royalroads.ca/admission/financial aid awards. And we also have our wonderful enrollment services. We have Kelsey on the line. And and they can be reached at learn.more@ruralroads.ca. And then there's some phone numbers on the screen there for local and toll-free for North America. So enrollment advisors are great because they can help you narrow down really the options, connect you with students and alumni, and answer any questions that you have about programs or applications. Wonderful group of folks there. And that's all from me on my end. I just want to check the chat if there's any questions. Doesn't look like it here, but I just want to turn it back for a moment to Shelley and Willem. If there's any last things you'd like to wrap us up with before we sign off today.
Oh, thanks so much, Ariana. I don't think so. I think we've covered it, but just we're always here if you have any questions, if you'd like to connect, discuss any of your professional or academic interests. We're always happy to talk to you. So thank you for joining us, and hope to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you, Ariana. Thank you, Shelley. Just one thing I just wanted to mention, because it might just be helpful when you're looking for to apply, right? So we have the web page of the Bachelor of Interdisciplinary Studies, and I put it in the chat here, and you have it. And then the admission requirements and application requirements are listed here. So application requirements here gives you that overview, what's needed, right? So this proposed program schedule, that's what you and I will be working on together. It's an application document, so that means that right now there is no program study for you. You create it, then together with Christy and I, we will draft your schedule with the dates, becomes real. And you look at it and you say that I can work with that, that's good. Then that document will then become part of your application, so that the adjudicators or the program head, Shelley, when she adjudicates your application, knows what your intention is. And that's why I just wanted to mention that. So your transcripts, it's all listed here, what you would include. The flexible admission, there is its own little section here. Yeah, that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Carol, I see you have your hand raised. I just want to give you a moment here.
Sure. I have a quick question, and I'm just asking this because I think it could be a question that others may think about. Are you able, when you're in the program, and somewhere along the line, something switches for you, whether it be in your job or your interests, and you want to change to some different courses, are you allowed to change your schedule?
Yeah, I'll answer that. Thank you, Carol. That's a perfect question there. I get that a lot. So there's several ways of doing this. When we schedule your courses, you decide how many courses you want to take. Some students take one course, which is the bare minimum. That's just enough to get to the 4 years. That's really slow. Some students are 2, 3. But if you get into an area that you are into a situation that it becomes too much, you have the option of taking a leave, and you can do that up to a year. You take a portion of that year, right, and still save the other portion of that year you haven't used. So there's a few methods of working. So combination of slowing down your schedule as well as a leave.
Okay.
And then the university has 2 options of leave, so you could just leave for personal reasons. But if there is a medical situation, that is a whole different question. Then it becomes a medical accessibility services question, and that's another option. Yeah.
And you can change courses as well, the original schedule, if that's necessary, or you would like to.
Oh, perfect.
Does that answer the question, or?
Yes, that's mainly what I was wondering, is if you can change your courses somewhere along the line, and I'm glad to know that there's flexibility there. Thank you.
Definitely. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. We appreciate everybody on the recording as well if you're tuning in from YouTube or elsewhere. So thank you so much, everybody, for your time today. And as always, we hope to see you in the program soon. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to reach out. Just learn.more@ruralroads.ca. So thanks again, everybody, and we will see you next time. Take good care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.